My name is Doris Kiani Brown. I go by Kiani, which is my middle name. I get my name from my grandma, whose name is Doris Jones. I am 32 years old, and I am from Newport, Virginia.
Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Ain't no love in the heart of town. Ain't no love and it's shown up for pity. Ain't no love 'cause you ain't around.
Growing up downtown Newport was harsh for young kids back in the 90s especially. Simply because we were influenced by the music, by the people around us growing up. You got drug dealers, you got gangsters, you got hood people, just everyone around you is just like lost. And you are a child trying to maneuver through that. So growing up downtown was not a walk in the park. It was hard, especially when you grow up with a family that's trying to mold you to be this strong and kind-hearted and just beautiful spirited individual. Your family is raising you to be that way, but your environment is sucking you in, telling you to be a whole nother way. And so to surpass by what the environment is designed and created for us to be, it's a beautiful thing when you can get through that. So here's my story, and it all started downtown. My mom had me at 17. She had very little patience for me and my sisters, just simply because she was a boss. She was really trying to figure out life herself, and things just wasn't going right with the relationships that she was involved in. And so her traumatic experience made my childhood a traumatic experience, and it wasn't easy. It was very hard, to the point where me and my mom, we have a good relationship now, but that wasn't an easy ride either, just getting it together. So my mom, she come from a decent background with my grandparents. Her parents are still together. She got 4 siblings, 3 brothers and 1 sister. So they all grew up in a fairly good household as one. But my mom, once she became 17, I guess she thought she was grown, girl. But when she came out here in this world and she had me, she got in these different relationships with drug dealers, and to the point where it was crazy. Like I had to watch my stepdad, the one she's married to. I had to watch my stepdad run up the side of my grandma's hill with blood gushing out of his neck from being shot multiple times. And I love my stepdad. So seeing an image like that as a child was very traumatic. It caused me to look over my shoulder a lot. It caused for me to watch who is around me. Like I'm very cautious about who I allow in my circle and who I allow to come around my family, because it's that deep. And that traumatic background just molded that for me. So because my mom had me so young, because she was angry, because she was living her life and partying and a businesswoman, my grandparents stepped in and they basically took care of me. They were there. They were the ones that molded me into the person that I am today. They made me this good person. So because of them, I grew up in the church. I was baptized when I was 10 years old. And my faith has always been very strong. My faith started to stray away when I was in my 20s, but we'll save that for later. But my grandparents, they are my rock. They just my everything. And without them, I wouldn't know what family is. I wouldn't know what life would be if they didn't guide me.
I turned the other cheek, I took blow after blow. There's so much crisis in the world cause you reap what you sow. When you keep what you know is meant for someone else, the ditch you dig for them, you might just end up in yourself. I'm in the secret place, I keep a sacred space. They keep showing their hands, but keep hiding their face. If I'm a messenger, you block me, then you block the message. So aggressive, the world you made is what you're left with.
Like most black communities, most black families, I was raised by both my grandma and my mom and my stepdad. I got 3 sisters and 1 brother. Growing up was pretty decent. It was pretty good. I can't complain at all about my childhood. My mom had me at 17 years old. And when she had me, it was very little patience that she had for me as a child. And it led to me being rebellious towards her growing up as a teenager, as a young adult, simply because I didn't like certain things. I didn't like how things were. And those things were just my mom just constantly yelling at me for little things. As a parent myself, I feel like it was just unnecessary. But at the same time, she's a growing human being. So my mom only knew what she knew at the time. My dad, I remember being at my grandma's house, and I was a little girl. I was small. I used to stand at her front door in that glass window. And that glass door is still the same. And I would see this man just ride up on a bike, and he would pull up at the bricks and be like, "Hey, baby girl." And I'm looking like, who is this dude? I turn around, run to my grandma like, "Grandma, I don't want to go with that dude. I don't know who that is." I had to be like 4 or 5. I was little, if that. And I met him officially when I was like 10. He came around. He had my little brother and my sister in the car. That was awkward as heck. My brother really like gravitated towards me. He always been like my little baby. He's still my heart. I got an older sister where our relationship is a little distant still to this day. And that's neither one of our fault. We just never really formed that bond to really grow together. So much distance between us.
Look, the older I get, the more I find it harder to date. Cause I deal with men that make them suffer from my father's mistakes. It's hard to explain the pain that it caused at my age. Knowing your pops ain't coming home and watch your mama go slave for minimum wage. Back when I was still playing Barbies, wheels to the concrete, little sis was still in the car seat in the hood. East side, I was still watching Barney. Raising kids by yourself, paying bills get exhausting. Peep game, started as a single mama as a teen. That's my mother. Fast forward, $4 that she feed. I'm running wild, a black girl lost up in these sheets. Try the best, but it's some things only your father's supposed to teach. Where was you at?
I went to Achievable Dream Elementary School from 3rd grade on up to middle school. And then after middle school, I went to Heritage High School. My dad got locked up. He went to jail when I was like 13. And I remember we were just like forming this bond, and I really like needed him because I was just forming into this young little lady that needed my dad. I had just met him, and I was just like, oh my God, I love him so much. I love my family. And so when he got locked up, it was like, dang, all downhill. And so what I started to do was I started to almost replace my dad with boys, which is typically what young females do growing up. When you lacking something, lacking love, whatever the case may be, you tend to gravitate towards the first thing that love you or say they love you, when it's really not even a healthy love. So you gravitate towards the first thing that attaches to you. And that's what I did. And it wasn't good for me. At 14, I started dating my daughter's father. And throughout high school, he was sweet. He cheated. That's what normal teenagers do. They do that. But we had an on and off relationship. When I turned 18, that's when it switched. And he got very controlling, possessive of me, abusive. Like, I couldn't talk to my friends. I couldn't do anything. I just had to be like a slave to this man while he just took over my whole life. Took my car, took my phone. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't have no friends. I remember walking through Walmart and seeing some of my old friends from high school wanting to speak, but at the same time, I had to bend my head down. I had to be quiet. I couldn't even say nothing because this man had me under so much control. And at the same time, people were starting to view me like, dang, what's going on with Kiani? Like, that's not her. And I knew it wasn't me. But at the same time, you are a young female and you just going with the flow.
Accused and stranded, I grew up with all this trauma, it's nothing. Forget it happened till years later it show up. Life is starting to blow up, faith is starting to crumble. These critics starting to mumble, oh my God, I feel dead inside, feel like suicide. Gone too far to turn back, he said, boy, you telling lies. Was deep inside the trenches of the devil's lair. They say how you get up out, I just said a prayer.
And then in my 20s, I was going through a lot of things, and so in my early 20s, so I was turning to the church, just basically like, I need help, I didn't know what else to do.
What it takes to know what I'm worth. Restore.